everybody. My name is Colleen Noonan, and I'm an art teacher in Galesburg, Illinois. And I have taught here in this school district for the past 27 years, and this is my 28th school year here in Galesburg. And I just want to say that I hope that you are thinking right now, gosh, she doesn't look like she could have been teaching for 27 years. I hope that's what you're thinking. Maybe you're not. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about a lesson that I did in the spring with my kids that were sheltering in place, as was I. And I kind of had to get shoved into the technology and the computer and the trying to rev kids up about art that might not have any supplies, that might not have access to good paper or good crayons or markers or any of that stuff. So I really worked hard at finding things that kids could do with basically no supplies. So this was one of my favorite lessons, and obviously it does require, not obviously yet, I guess, but it does require a camera of some kind, so it does require that supply. However, in my school district, they opted to send Chromebooks home with everyone, so all students had the Chromebooks, and all students were familiar with those tools. So that really did really contribute to the ease of video lessons like this. So I did make a video for them that I'll kind of preview here and kind of go over, highlight I guess is a better word. So behind me you can see that I have a checklist written out of things that will be included in your students' obstacle course, if you choose to do it that way. And then over here I have a drawing of my obstacle course. So I'll go over both of those things, and you will take a look, hopefully, and see what items are in there that interest you. So we want to start by thinking about, how do we want our obstacle course to look? Do we want it to be super movement, a lot of moving around? Do we want to do a lot of ducking and jumping and going under and going around? So students start thinking about how active they want to be. I would suggest that as a good starting point. How active do I want to be in this obstacle course? So I love to be active and I love to get all around. However, I did not create an actual obstacle course that I ran in front of students because I'm just a little bit too much of an old lady for that. So I did not do that. But I did a pretty good description verbally and then visually, so students would have the main idea. So once they've kind of started planning and they've thought, how much do I want to move? What kinds of things do I want in there? What can I use around my house or out in my yard or out in a common area that I want to incorporate? And there's a PowerPoint attached to this that explains it all, kind of breaks it down into steps and gives different items for each and different ideas and suggestions for each part. So it'll be more descriptive once you dig into that PowerPoint, if you do choose to dig into that. So let's go over our checklist. So I would present the lesson by just kind of saying we're going to create an art obstacle course, and you can make it go outside, you can make it go out inside, you can go under, you can go over, you can do your favorite dance move, you can incorporate whatever you want for your obstacle course, but it has to be art related. So when we're thinking art related, we need to take that kind of in mind when we're thinking about how our obstacles will work. So for the finished product, you have to have at least 5 obstacles. So you're going to need to come up with 5 different things, at least, that you want to put in your obstacle course. Under, over, around, whatever you want. And then within there, at least 2 that contain art components. What could you do to add an art component? You can list something. Famous artists and their painting. Vincent van Gogh, Starry Night. So you have to say that. You have to say an artist and a painting before you can go to the next obstacle. Or list your primary and secondary colors. Or I'm trying to think of some more kind of quieter ones. List all the list the complementary colors. List all the colors on the color wheel, on the main color wheel. So anything, order of the rainbow colors. And I have all these ideas in the PowerPoint also, so you'll be able to see them. So that's one art component. At least one of those art components has to have a product, okay? So you're creating something. So it's not just using your brain there, you're also going to be using your hands and your creative energy. So you could draw something like, draw your favorite food, draw your favorite animal, draw a self-portrait, draw what you did last night, what you had last night for dinner. Or you can have like a station, and one of my suggestions was a color mixing station. So you get some food coloring, and you have to mix up red and blue to make purple. So that could be one part of the obstacle course. So there's other suggestions in there, you can take a look at those. But at least one of your art components has to have a product, so you have to be able to have something to look at. Most kids chose the drawing option. They drew an animal, truthfully, that's what most picked. So once they're done and they've kind of mapped out their course, then they create a map with a narrative or a video of the course. They can make a video. Now, to be transparent, every single one of my students chose to create a video. They did not choose to do the narrative, the map with the narrative. It just wasn't high on their priority list, I guess. I do ask within the PowerPoint, and I did ask my students if they could just create a quick sketch. That way they know what they're doing rather than just like this bumbling wander around and then they don't even know what they're doing and then they're creating it on the fly, which isn't terrible, but it's not really helpful in the planning part of it. So here's my map with my narrative. So my narrative is not a paragraph, it's just labeling and explaining so you can see. So I have a spot where I start, and I marked that with a star here, but within the PowerPoint, I suggest maybe using an X with tape, or you could put a toy or something that kind of notes where it begins. So then my first obstacle is to go over a chair. My next obstacle, and I'm going to walk backwards during this obstacle, just because I'm really living on the edge. I'm going to go to the sofa and I'm going to roll across the sofa. And while I roll across the sofa, I'm going to say 4 geometric shapes. Then I'm going to move on and I am finding my pets. So my cat and my dog, I'm going to make them sit together. They hopefully will get along. And then I'm going to go around or over, depending on what your pet is. If you want to just step over them, you can step over them. I'm not going to advise you to do too much jumping or anything too crazy with your pets. And then this one is the next obstacle. I travel to the table, but instead of walking backwards this time, I'm going to skip, okay? Skip. Not skip over it, skip to it. So I'm going to skip to the table, and then at the table, draw my favorite animal. So I'll have that set up already. I'll have paper and pencil ready to go for me. And then I'm going to come around here, and I'm going to go under my blanket tunnel. Ooh, it's very exciting. I used to do that all the time when I was a kid. We'd create the fort, and then get in the fort, and then go through the fort. And then my last here, my ending mark, I probably would also mark it with something, maybe another tape X, maybe a toy. I wrote that when I got to the end, I was going to make a medal. First place, of course, because I'm the only one running the course. So that's why I'm first. And then sing We Are the Champions. So they can get as silly as they want with it and as fun as they want with it. Obviously, the more you model that, probably the more excited they're going to get. So if you actually did, we are the champions, my friends. So if you did the singing during the video, or if you were wearing a medal, whoo, I should have gotten a medal, and I should have worn a medal. That can kind of jazz them up and get them excited. All right? So again, within the PowerPoint, there is, this checklist is in there. There's lots of suggestions of other things you can add and things you might want to include in your video. And I think I'll go ahead and take a picture of this so you can see it a little bit closer. It looks like there's a little bit of glare here. So I'll include a picture of that so you can get a closer look at that. Okay? Well, that is basically it in a nutshell. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I really hope you decide to try it out. It was a lot of fun. My students really, really enjoyed it. I got positive feedback from them. I got positive feedback from parents. And it just, overall, I was very pleased with it. And it was fun. And the sheltering in place was kind of miserable, and this kind of made kids and adults smile for at least a little while. I did some other outside things like art scavenger hunts and things like that also that included no supplies, just as an idea if you want to get your brain thinking there. That was another thing that I did that the kids really enjoyed. So if you want to contact me, I did include my email address on the presentation, the PowerPoint. And again, my name is Colleen Noonan, and my email is cnoonan@galesburg205.org, and that is my work email, and I'd love to hear from you. I am #not on any social media, so you can't really find me. I have people tell me all the time, why aren't you on Facebook? That's how everyone I know talks, but I'm not. I can't do it in my life. I'm not ready to embrace the social media, so I haven't. Don't worry, I'm not living under a rock. I watch the news. I watch plenty of stuff. I keep abreast of all things that I need to. So don't worry about me and my social connections. I have plenty of them, but they're actually face-to-face, or at this point in my life, mask to mask. So, okay, have a great day. Again, I hope you enjoyed things, and email me especially if you decide to try it out, and let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear from you. All right, thanks.